chosen ones, there are numbers not carved on paper, but etched in the invisible architecture of the spiritual world. These numbers may appear to you in ways that seem ordinary: an incoming call, a strange message, a familiar ringtone at an unfamiliar hour. But behind what looks like coincidence lies a war for your inheritance, a subtle attempt to intercept what heaven intended for you. At midnight, when the veil is thinnest, when the soul is most exposed, forces seek permission to enter. They don't knock on doors with chains and shadows. They dial through the very devices you keep close to your heart and ear. This isn't just about technology, it's about access. A number can be a code, a gateway, a signal for blessing or curse. Heaven operates in divine order, and the enemy mimics with counterfeit codes, counterfeit voices, counterfeit alerts. When the wrong number enters your life at the wrong time, it's not just an interruption, it's an infiltration. A voice may sound familiar, a vibration may feel harmless, but the unseen transaction could cost you more than you realize. There's a reason ancient scrolls warned of strange tongues and deceptive signals. In this age, the battlefield is not only in the sky or on the ground. It pulses in your hand, glows in your palm, and rings in your pocket. Some numbers carry assignments, not conversations. Some carry chains, not connections. What you block at midnight could be the very act that seals your blessing by sunrise. The choice is subtle, yet eternal. Do you answer the ring, or do you silence it? Do you block what feels strange, or do you let curiosity open a door that heaven never authorized? Every second past midnight is a test, and your awareness is the shield. You were not given discernment to ignore it. You were given discernment to act on it. There are calls that carry sound, and there are calls that carry assignments. The call that heaven never dialed is the one that slips into your atmosphere uninvited, designed to look ordinary, but charged with a weight you cannot yet name. When your phone vibrates at a time when silence should rule, when the world around you is dim and still, the interruption is not merely technical, it is spiritual. You may glance at the screen and wonder why the digits feel strange, why the name does not appear, why something in your spirit seems to hesitate. That hesitation is not weakness. It is discernment, pressing against the edges of your awareness. Throughout the ages, the faithful have been warned that false messengers would arrive clothed in familiar garments, speaking in tones that echo trust, but hiding intentions darker than shadow. In this era, they do not always knock at the door or enter through the gate. Instead, they travel through invisible waves, through glowing screens, through rings that sound harmless, but carry chains meant to fasten around your spirit. When you pick up what heaven never sent, you agree to a conversation that was never yours to hold. The atmosphere shifts in those moments. Your body may not fully perceive it, but the unseen world reacts when a signal breaches your personal sphere. It is not about words spoken, but about permissions granted. A call answered at midnight is not always about the person on the other end. It can be about the covenant silently established by the act of answering. You think it is curiosity, yet in the unseen world, it is access. Imagine the unseen script written before your life began, a script filled with blessings, protections, instructions carefully ordered by the divine. Now, imagine a counterfeit script attempting to overwrite it, using owned vibration and timing to redirect your steps. Each unanswered call from such a number is a shield lifted. Each ignored ring is a chain broken before it could form. Yet, Each time the voice is entertained, the shadow gains ground. Midnight is a threshold, a place between endings and beginnings where silence is deepest and mysteries move most freely. It is in this fragile hour that whispers travel through channels unseen, not carried by wind or breath, but by the invisible streams that connect one device to another. You may hear it as a faint ring, a sudden vibration, a soft tone that cuts through stillness, yet beneath it lies something older than technology. Midnight whispers have always existed. They were once carried by shadows across deserts, by voices through temple corridors, by dreams that visited sleepers with urgent messages. Now they cloak themselves in the glow of a screen, sliding across signals and frequencies, waiting for you to notice. What makes the Midnight Veil so vulnerable is its nature. It is the moment when the body is weakest, when the spirit drifts near the realm of dreams, when the mind is less guarded against intrusion. A call arriving at this hour is not simply about coincidence. It is about timing, alignment, and the hunger of forces that cannot reach you while the sun shines. They wait until the hour when protection feels thin, when solitude deepens, when vigilance relaxes. Then the veil trembles, and a signal seeps through. You may not hear words with your ears, yet something in your heart registers them. The whisper tells you to answer. The whisper assures you it is harmless. The whisper disguises itself as familiarity. But there is a reason the ancient texts speak of watchmen standing guard through the night. For even in times long before screens and signals, spirits knew the weight of midnight. The veil is not a wall, but a fabric, and fabric can be pierced. Yeshua once spoke of thieves who come in the night, of voices that do not belong to the true shepherd. His words echo now, reminding you that not every sound is to be trusted, not every signal carries truth. To listen without discernment is to risk handing over the keys of your peace. Midnight whispers are subtle, but subtlety is their power. There are warnings that thunder, and there are warnings that whisper through silence. Yeshua often spoke in ways that did not always roar with force, but settled like a seed in the hearts of those willing to listen. He said, "My sheep know my voice," and that voice is not always heard in sound, but in stillness. Silence itself can carry the weight of a divine alarm, a pause heavy with meaning, a moment when heaven is speaking without a single word. At midnight, when your device glows and a strange number tries to enter your atmosphere, the silence around it is more revealing than the ring itself. Not all signals deserve your attention, and not every voice deserves your answer. Yeshua's life revealed that discernment is the shield against deception. He did not respond to every accuser, nor did he entertain every challenge. His silence in certain moments was itself a statement, a refusal to grant the enemy ground. That pattern becomes your guide now. When the number flashes at midnight, when curiosity presses, you must ask, does this echo the shepherd's call, or is it the whisper of a stranger? The silence within you will answer if you are still enough to feel it. Technology has made the unseen tangible. Signals, once invisible, now manifest as vibrations and tones, but the principle has not changed since the desert temptations. The adversary always seeks entry, always disguises itself as harmless, always arrives cloaked in timing meant to break your guard. Midnight is chosen for a reason. It is the hour when silence should restore, yet it is the hour most easily pierced. Yeshua's words remain your compass. The stranger's voice they will not follow. What if the silence pressing on your spirit is not emptiness, but presence? What if the unease you feel before answering is not fear, but the gentle hand of Yeshua steering you away? Every unanswered call can be an act of obedience. Every blocked number, a wall raised against a plot unseen. But if silence is ignored, if discernment is dismissed, the ring of midnight may not only wake your device, but disturb your destiny. There are guardians assigned to every life, and though their wings are unseen, their presence is constant. When you move through your days unaware of the invisible battles fought on your behalf, signals from both light and darkness try to reach you. But between your ear and the unseen, an angel stands. This angel is not bound by the glow of screens or the pulse of frequencies, yet it watches every vibration, every call, every number that flashes at midnight. Its assignment is not simply to protect your body, but to guard the channels through which your spirit can be reached. You may never notice how many interruptions never arrive, how many strange signals are blocked before they touch your device, how many unseen attempts are silenced before they could ever make you hesitate. Just as armies once surrounded prophets, unseen to human eyes yet blazing with fire in the spirit, so too does your guardian stand at the threshold of your signal. To you, it feels like a phone simply never rang, like a message never came through, but in the unseen world, it was intercepted and dismantled before it reached you. Yet not every attempt is stopped. Some slip through as tests, as moments designed to awaken your discernment. The angel who guards your signal cannot choose for you. It can only warn, stir your awareness, and press upon your spirit the unease you sometimes mistake for nerves. That unease is often the echo of a sword drawn in your defense, a silent nudge for you to act with wisdom. Midnight rings that shake you awake are not always random. They are sometimes the clash of forces, one trying to gain entry, the other standing firm to deny it. When you decide to block what feels strange, you align yourself with the angel's work. You become a participant in your own protection. You confirm heaven's guard by choosing not to open a door that was never yours to open. But when you ignore that inner stirring and give access where none should be given, the angel can only watch as you lower the shield with your own hand. The familiar tone of a message arrives, and your eyes fall upon words that seem harmless, even welcoming. Yet not every greeting is born from light. Some arrive dressed as friendship, cloaked in casual phrases, wrapped in the illusion of care. The adversary has always known that open threats draw suspicion, but disguised intentions slip past defenses with ease. Just as wolves once clothed themselves in sheep's wool, so now do whispers of deception arrive through glowing screens, masked as companionship. The danger is not in the words themselves, but in the spirit that sends them. You read and feel a warmth at first, but beneath it lingers something unsteady, a subtle pressure to respond quickly, to open a space in your life you had once guarded. That pressure is not merely emotional, it is spiritual. Every text is an entry point, a seed planted, a door nudged ajar. To answer without discernment is to invite what hides behind the mask of friendliness. The digital age has become fertile ground for deception because it thrives in distance, where faces are unseen and intentions cloaked. Even in his time, Yeshua warned of false teachers and voices that sounded comforting, yet led to destruction. He said that many would come in his name, but their fruits would betray them. The same principle holds true in your messages. Words may flatter, sentences may charm, but the fruit they produce will always reveal the source. When you respond to what feels strangely heavy, when you allow your peace to be unsettled by a connection that arrived out of nowhere, you hand over a measure of authority to a force you cannot yet see. Demons rarely shout their presence. They disguise, they mimic, they copy the tone of a friend, the rhythm of a trusted voice. They appear as comfort until the chains tighten. And so, what begins as a casual text at midnight may unfold into influence meant to redirect your path. You are not asked to fear every vibration, but to test every spirit, to weigh the peace in your heart against the urgency in the message. There are numbers not meant to be remembered, digits that carry more than a sequence. They carry assignments. Some are marked with weight, unseen signatures etched into them by forces determined to alter the course of a life. The number that erased destinies is never obvious. It looks ordinary, appears with the same glow and vibration as any other, yet its arrival marks the beginning of an unseen unraveling. When answered, it does not simply connect you to another voice. It connects you to a plan designed to redirect your steps, to shift your future in ways you may never fully see until too late. The world treats numbers as neutral, random combinations without meaning. But in the unseen realm, every connection has purpose, and not all purposes are holy. A single call at the wrong hour can begin a chain reaction, pulling you into conversations that plant doubt, binding you to agreements that weaken your strength, distracting you from the path carefully ordered for you. Just as a seed carries the potential of a forest, a single number can carry the potential of destruction. Yeshua once spoke of the narrow way, a path few find, a road requiring vigilance. His words echo in moments like this because every number you allow into your life shapes the road beneath your feet. The number that erases destinies rarely announces its intent. Instead, it charms, it persists, it returns again and again, until you believe its presence is natural. But each time you answer, each time you allow the connection, threads of your destiny are loosened, tugged away from the fabric heaven designed. You may wonder how something so small, so digital, could hold such power. But history shows that the smallest decisions often alter the largest outcomes. One missed warning, one unchecked voice, one moment of curiosity can open the door to years of delay. Destiny is fragile when treated casually, and strong when guarded with awareness. Midnight is not merely a time, it is a test. And some numbers are not just disturbances, they are traps, coded interruptions set to dismantle futures unseen. There are voices that bring life, and there are voices that coil like serpents, wrapping themselves around your spirit until what once felt clear becomes clouded. At midnight, when the ring pierces silence, you may not realize you are standing between two calls, one that speaks from the shepherd and one that hisses from deception. Yeshua's voice has always been steady, carrying peace, even when his words challenge the world around him. The serpent's ring, however, carries urgency that unsettles, a pressure that demands without giving clarity, a sound that seems harmless but leaves your spirit restless. When Yeshua said, "My sheep hear my voice," he revealed that his call is recognizable not because of tone or sound, but because of the resonance within. His voice does not manipulate. It aligns. It does not push you into panic. It draws you into stillness. The serpent, on the other hand, thrives on disguise. It rings with familiarity, cloaks itself in the ordinary. But once you answer, its words begin to twist, introducing confusion where once there was certainty. Technology has only given the ancient struggle a new costume. What once appeared as whispers in gardens now appears as digits on screens, yet the principle remains unchanged. Every call demands a response. Even the decision not to answer is itself an act of alignment. When the serpent rings, it seeks to break your rhythm, to insert doubt, to create cracks where faith once stood firm. When Yeshua calls, even through silence, the result is peace that steadies you for what lies ahead. The test is subtle. The serpent rarely comes shouting. It prefers tones that sound safe, names that seem familiar, patterns that echo trust. But the fruit reveals the source. If the ring leaves you uneasy, if the words carry weight that drains instead of strengthens, you must recognize whose voice you are entertaining. Yeshua never leaves his children without discernment. His spirit nudges, warns, and whispers in ways that only the attentive can feel. There are moments when interruptions are not accidents, but revelations. A call that cuts off, a signal that drops, a message that never delivers. These events seem like technical flaws, yet in the unseen world they can be signs. Prophecies do not always arrive through thunder or visions. Sometimes they are hidden in the cracks of broken connections. Each pause, each silence, each failure in communication can hold a meaning meant only for those willing to look beyond the surface. What you perceive as an inconvenience may actually be heaven, shielding you from what was never meant to reach you. Prophets of old often read meaning in storms, in dreams, in sudden disruptions of the ordinary. Today, the battlefield looks different, but the principle remains. A broken call at midnight may be more than static. It may be the invisible hand of protection cutting short an assignment meant to harm you. When the screen flashes and the line drops before a voice can be heard, you are left with a choice. Dismiss it as nothing, or discern it as a message. Discernment turns interruption into prophecy. Yeshua once told his disciples that they would hear of many signs, that not everything unfolding before them was random. He urged them to stay awake, to remain watchful, because meaning often hides in places others overlook. In the same way, when a number fails to connect, when a whisper never makes it through, the silence itself becomes a message. It is as though heaven is saying, "This was never meant to touch you." And yet, the curious heart still wonders, still desires to redial, to chase what was already severed. But prophecy often demands trust in what you cannot see. If the line breaks, if the call dissolves into static, let it. To force connection is to resist protection. Some blessings survive only because you never answered, only because the voice on the other side was never allowed to speak its chains into your life. A broken signal may be the loudest prophecy you will ever hear, if you have the courage to believe silence can speak. In the unseen world, your soul is not left unguarded. Just as the devices you carry use firewalls to block intrusion, so too does heaven establish a barrier around the spirit of those chosen to walk in destiny. This firewall is not made of stone or code, but of light, prayer, and the breath of the eternal. Every attempt to breach it, every midnight number, every whisper disguised as harmless, must first collide with this shield. You may never realize how often the divine firewall absorbs what was aimed at you. How many snares never reach your ears because they disintegrated against the wall built by the hand of heaven. The firewall is strengthened by your choices. Each prayer, each act of obedience, each refusal to entertain the serpent's signal weaves new strands into the barrier. It grows brighter, thicker, more impenetrable with every act of faith. But when vigilance wanes, when curiosity replaces discernment, cracks begin to appear. These cracks are not punishments. They are reminders that partnership with the divine is active. The firewall remains, but your choices determine how strong its glow becomes. Yeshua spoke often of abiding, of remaining in Him as branches remain in the vine. That connection is the ultimate firewall. To remain tethered to His voice is to ensure that no counterfeit ring can override your peace. He said, "No one can snatch them out of my hand." And those words echo as a promise that even when attacks press against you, the divine firewall still holds. Yet, you are called to recognize the difference between leaning on that shield and recklessly inviting what it was built to block. Every strange number, every shadowed signal is a test of trust. Do you trust the firewall enough to let it block what feels enticing? Do you allow the wall to stand, or do you attempt to climb over it by answering what was never meant for you? The enemy thrives on loopholes, but heaven thrives on protection. The shield stands, but your hand chooses whether to honor it. Every call that arrives in the stillness of night is more than a sound. It is a test of access. Midnight is not simply a time on the clock. It is a courtroom where unseen verdicts are weighed. In those moments, you become both witness and judge, deciding who has permission to cross the threshold of your life. The digits glowing on your screen carry invitations, and each choice you make becomes evidence. To answer is to open, to block is to protect, to ignore is to delay. But none of these are neutral. Each action echoes in realms you cannot see. Judgment at midnight does not always thunder with finality. It arrives in small decisions that ripple into eternity. You may believe it is only a call, only a message, only a harmless ring. But heaven views it differently. The scales tip with every response. What you allow to speak into your atmosphere shapes the narrative written over you. Some voices come bearing peace, while others arrive with chains concealed in words. Midnight exposes the weight of these voices, for it is the hour when distractions fade and the true nature of signals stands bare. Yeshua once warned that every idle word will be accounted for, and if words carry such gravity, how much more the voices we permit to enter. His guidance points to a truth too easily ignored. The gates of your life are guarded not just by walls of stone, but by the choices you make when a voice seeks entry. To entertain the wrong call is to let the serpent whisper. To reject it is to align with the shepherd who never misleads. The judgment is not about punishment. It is about alignment, about deciding which voice you trust to shape your future. Midnight presses this question on you with unrelenting weight. When the screen glows and silence is pierced by the sound of a ring, you stand at a crossroad of judgment. The unseen witnesses lean in to see how you will respond. And though no gavel falls, though no courtroom appears, a decision is written in that moment.
If you have come this far, it is crucial that you watch this next video here. But be warned, it is not for the faint of heart, for only the true chosen ones can handle this video. If you would like to also donate to help keep the channel going, our Buy Me a Coffee link will be in the description.